So Ben, what did we talk about on this podcast?
All kinds of bloody stuff, mate.
Oh, mate, we're all over the place.
We're going to talk about. You had some amazing good news.
Such good news.
It's techie and hopeful for the future, and I like it.
And if you live in a house,
it may match your interests.
Who knows?
We talked about building iPhones from scraps.
We did.
Is it good? Is it bad? Let's find out. We also talked about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Volume 2, well done.
Thank you. And also lots of other film bits and pieces, wasn't it?
We turned into our little film critiques.
Absolutely. I feel like we're just about keeping our head above water in terms of knowledge.
Treading water.
Combination of bluffing.
Head tilted back.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we had a brand new segment at the end, which I'm not going to spoil. It involves questions.
From my box.
Damn it!
Damn it. Spoiler alert. Okay, let's do it.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. You're hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, the podcast where we talk about whatever drivel rolls on through one ear and out the other ear.
Whatever crap.
My name's Ben, and as always, I'm joined by the far more productive half of the team, Tom.
Definitely not. Hello.
How are you, my friend? You well?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. For the purposes of the podcast, we haven't seen each other for weeks. I'm discounting the fact that we saw each other at the weekend very briefly.
It was brief, in fairness. It was like 20 minutes?
And half cut, to be fair.
Half cut, you were.
So, well, yeah.
I wasn't.
So, but otherwise, no, it's really good, man. What's new? What's going on?
Not a huge amount. I booked holiday.
Awesome. Where are you off to? Is this your roving reporter? Are you doing this purely for the podcast?
No, mate, no, of course not. No, me and Caleb booked Spain last night, which is pretty cool. We got quite a cheap deal for
Awesome.
July.
You've been to Spain a couple of times before, I think.
Yeah, twice.
Oh, cool.
Twice.
Okay. Where are you off to this time?
Literally
Spain.
exactly the same place. It's just Spain, mate. No,
Oh, cool.
Same place. It's called Costa Dorada, I think. It's really touristy, really kind of a nice, simple holiday for a British couple.
Dude,
do you know what I mean?
Did you pick up much Spanish last time?
No, don't need
Fantastic.
to.
I've got fingers I can hold
don't
up.
want to, yeah.
I should say that's for like counting, not for like,
Yeah.
swearing at Spaniards. Oh, cool, man. When are you off?
8th of July.
Awesome, man. So I always like that kind of the last few months just before you go away.
Yeah.
You know.
It's cool. So, I mean, it kind of came up out of nowhere because obviously been to Hong Kong this year.
Sure.
And there was a week, I say a week free, I had to cancel 2 gigs.
Oh.
But it was like a really good deal.
Sure.
But like all holidays are when people were like, oh, no, such a good deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're all good deals.
That's it. I always feel like it shouldn't matter. Like it always sounds like people are justifying it. It's like, mate, you're going on a holiday. It doesn't really matter where. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter how much. Yeah. I'm jealous anyway.
Yeah. So that'd be cool. But yeah, it was good value.
Hey, awesome. I'm not doing the holiday, your holiday, my holiday thing, but I too have booked a holiday.
Oh.
Well, I say it's a holiday. It's a very special kind of holiday after the big event in August.
So it's honeymoon.
It's a honeymoon booked.
Grown up holiday.
I know, dude. It's the
Where
bloody. We're going off to Chile.
Oh.
Another Spanish speaking country.
Is it?
There you go. Nice bit of trivia there for you. And you know what? It's the most expensive set of flights I think I've ever booked, and I nearly choked on my own spit. Dude,
it's far away. I'm just looking at Ben's got a map on the wall. Actually, it's kind of like
in the study.
Yeah, in the study. Yeah, but it's a long way.
It's old way. This is going to be great podcasting. It's there, and we're up there, so that's a lot.
If you can imagine that at home, it's just there.
Yeah. We just point at your own screen or your iPod or your phone, or whatever you listen to this.
It's a fair old way.
Why
there? Just out of curiosity.
No, would love to tell you that I could give you a definite reason. I'd like to go to South America. Claire's obviously the same. Really into going around that side of the world. And
excellent.
yeah, we've got a really good deal.
Did you? No, we didn't. We got shafted.
We got a terrible deal. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. We need to organise some other bits and pieces, obviously places to stay and what have you. But there is something really cool, actually. There's a section of it must have been the coast, I guess, at one point where there's a forest.
Right.
And they had an earthquake that sunk the ground by about 2 meters. Ooh. So it essentially dropped this forest into the salty sea bath.
Yeah.
Killed all the trees. But now you can go kayaking around this dead forest, which sounds kind of cool on the one hand.
And kind of creepy.
Kind of creepy, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to do it at night.
No,
wouldn't want to go on my own. I'd probably tie the 2 boats together with a rope.
Yeah, definitely.
Claire.
Don't go too far. That's cool. Are you going to do that, or have you booked it? Or
it's just a question of booking it. Yeah, I think we're aiming to do it when we get over there.
Yeah, that'd be wicked.
But yeah, man, it should be good.
Awesome.
Although that's not my biggest news. I nearly died. Well, I didn't nearly die. I should do spoiler alert that I didn't nearly die.
Ben is still here. I'm not just faking.
Because no, yeah,
to carry on this in his memory.
No, it's been a really okay. So booking the honeymoon has been probably the most pleasant of the wedding things booking that we've had to do.
Yeah,
because there's obviously, you can imagine there's a lot going on, and then amongst all of that, we had to scrap the car because dude, this is what I was going to tell you earlier. Actually, the bracket that holds the rear axle on just decided it had enough.
It's just gone.
Yeah, dude. So our rear wheel decided it'd just float around wherever it liked to. We nearly floated into some oncoming traffic a couple of times, and I floated at 20 mile an hour down the few miles or so between home, the garage, then the place to scrap it. So yeah, I had to go through all that bollocks of buying a new car.
Oh really?
Yeah, actually,
you've actually bought a new one.
Yeah. Well, it's a used approved one.
Used and approved.
Yeah. Because I think our joint friend Ben. He is in that business, so he was very helpful and made it a very pleasant experience. But at the same time, it's like buying any kind of new gear where you're thinking, well, what about this option? What about this option?
It's annoying. I'm not into cars, so anything that relates around car cost annoys me.
Yep, dude. You and I are exactly the same page.
My brother loves it, but I hate it. If something goes wrong with the car, I'm like, this is not good, and I don't want to fix it. I often think like maybe I could just go without. Maybe I don't need a car.
It's like, sure, try it.
Yeah. But no, they're too bloody useful cars, aren't they?
I think my problem is that I just don't distinguish between them enough. Like I'm not into it enough to go, I really want this or I really want one of these.
Yeah, mine serves a purpose, and as long as it can do that, I don't care what it looks like.
Is that your little wagon?
The little wagon,
little pedal wagon.
Yeah, horse and cart.
But dude, enough with this plain old regular news.
Idle chit-chat.
This humdrum rubbish news.
Low-brow, low-key.
Let's get on to the best segment, which we always do 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's good news.
It's good news with Tom Hitchens.
The
best thing about this good news is it is good. It's really good.
Okay.
And it's news.
Do we still have to do a brief reminder of what this segment is about, the spirit of it?
Yeah. You do it.
It's good news. We got fed up of all the bad news. Tom's on a one-man mission to find good news.
The good word.
So it's not just good news for us. It's good news generally.
It's good news for everyone. So this is good news, and if you've heard it before, then I apologise, but just humour me for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
I'm on it. Got the smile ready.
Oh, wicked, Tom. Yeah, great. They have 3D printed a house.
What?
Yeah.
No, dude, I haven't seen this. What's okay? Go on.
That's good. I'm glad you haven't.
Okay.
Yeah. So they've 3D printed a house, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. It's a Russian company, and a classic 3D printer is like a box, isn't it? And it's really small and it prints little bits inside.
Sure.
Basically, what they've done is made it like they've taken away the box, so it looks like a crane. Like if you imagine an arm on like a big swivel, it's like a 360 kind of printer. So the house it prints is spherical. It's kind of round.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But basically, guess how long it takes?
Oh man, print? Dude, it's either going to be, I don't know. I would expect it to take a long time.
24 hours.
Okay.
To 3D print an entire house.
Okay.
And for it to be complete. That's done. So the 3D printer takes like 18 hours. Then it takes workmen the rest to put in the things that they can't do.
Fine. Okay.
So like the 3D printer prints everything, pipes, electricals.
What?
Everything. It
Right.
costs around, and it, like I say, it costs around £10,000.
What?
Yeah, £10,000 to build this house. So you can imagine, obviously, maybe not in. I don't mean this offensively, but maybe that's not so great in the third world. Like £10,000
No,
is
sure.
still a lot of money.
Sure.
But if like a richer country got hit by a tornado like America,
Yep.
then they can build, rows of these houses. If they, if they got more than one machine, if they got like 5 machines on the go, that's 5 houses a day. It's
That's
making, and it's
incredible.
bigger. They're small houses,
Sure.
and they're probably not a permanent solution.
Okay.
But the great thing about it is there is no error.
Sure.
It can't muck it up. There's no human error in there
Wow.
because it's obviously printing from a blueprint and it's a machine.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can't mess it up. It's really cool. There's a
That's
video
insane.
of it building the house, and it kind of just goes round and round and round, which is awesome. But
So is it like a polymer, like a plastic, I guess?
yeah, it's
Okay.
It's really weird. It changes what it's doing. So it'll print like part of the wall, then it'll print the inside bits, and then it just literally spins round. It's really cool.
What happens if like on your laser jet, if you're running out of ink, you get a stripy kind of effect going on?
Yeah.
Do you end up with gaps in there?
just get like strange gaps in the wall. Yeah. Get jammed.
That's
and
really
everything.
cool, man.
But it's really cool.
The
And,
trouble is, you can never unjam printers.
No.
So you imagine how much of a pain in the ass it is when you're trying to ferret an A4 piece of paper that isn't in your printer.
but it's nuts.
That's cool, man.
But like I just think it's amazing. It's £10,000 now. Well, it's $10,000, so it's cheaper than pounds.
Yeah, sure.
Probably not for long.
Thanks, Brexit.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Obama.
Cool. Okay,
but-
dude, that's really interesting as well. 'Cause
It's cool.
There's a whole have you seen that small house movement thing?
I don't think so.
It's worth looking at. I'll link all this stuff in the show notes. But it's a bunch of people who are saying you do not need big houses, and they're encouraging people just to buy something that is big enough for you. Without being all ostentatious. And I know people have families, and I know people.
Yeah.
It's a traditional thing to want, isn't it? A lot of people want a big, sizable house, but these people are saying, look, there is another way of doing it. So if you're just a couple, or if you're say you've got a family with older kids, maybe who aren't running around or what have you, or whatever position you're in, think about a smaller house. These container houses. Have you seen these? People have taken it to a real extreme.
I've seen like the ones that you always see on like Facebook or whatever when someone lives in like a container.
Yeah. And it's all like a TV in the sofa that pops up, and then the bed comes out.
Yeah, it's like a pop-up house.
So that's really cool. If you said to a lot of people who are struggling to afford a house, especially in this countries all over the world, but you said, look, $10,000, you can have your own house.
Yeah.
Small, nice, small.
Small, yeah. But the thing that boggles my mind about it is like, it's £10,000 now.
Yeah.
In like 20 years,
That's
what would it
a
go
good
down
point.
to? Like 5,000? Or, it's hard to say, isn't it? Would it? But the thing they were saying about it was really cool is the sky's literally the limit. It only goes up so high, but they're saying, in the future, when we get one that's like 50 meters high, it can just 3D print a building.
That's nuts.
It's weird. You can see it obviously make it in super fast, and it's literally just spinning around, printing the house. It's
That's
really
so
weird.
cool.
And the thing that's so cool is that everything's built in, like the that's mental. It's
Yeah.
like building a wire as it goes.
No,
Crazy, man.
that's really cool, dude. That's
The good news.
Man, well done. It's a return to
it's a-
form.
it's
That's
a
a
big
proper return
return.
to form of actual good news.
I feel like that's the first true segment of good news.
I think it's the first time we've actually nailed it. Actually got it working.
That's it. That's the good news. That's over. Hope you enjoyed.
Can I follow up with some not as good news, but
Yeah.
it's just really super interesting news that you showed me earlier,
Yeah.
and I'm going to completely claim as my own and bring up as if I thought of it myself.
And then,
It's the scientists who've been looking at Tammy's star,
yeah.
and they found unusual light dips previously. Have you ever seen about this, Tom? I don't know if you've seen
maybe,
it.
I don't know. Maybe, man. Go on. Please do explain.
Where scientists, astronomers have found light dips in the light level on this particular star, where they said that isn't explained by planets or comets or other astral bodies floating.
Yeah.
Astral bodies, that's like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
No, other planetary bodies floating
Stuff.
around the star.
Yeah.
So it's started to dip again now. So the eyes of the world are on this star to take
Watching
as
it.
many readings as they can. Because the one fabulous theory about this,
It is a fabulous.
it is, it's
Not
fabulous.
that I know, but it's.
Yeah. Is what do you mean? You sound like you've read this before. Is the fact that it's an alien megastructure, which sounds like it's been pulled out of someone's arse.
Yeah.
But there is reason why people are jumping to this conclusion is because it's the theory that it's a class 1 civilization. In sci-fi terms or predictive science, futurist kind of terms. A class 1 civilization is a world that takes all of the energy it needs from its star.
Yeah.
And to do that, the leading theory is you need to have stuff around the star.
Yeah, constantly like just absorbing.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the idea is that that's maybe what we're looking at.
I've read the article. Okay, let's just put it out there. But you're right. The interesting point is that you should only ever assume that if there's no other logical reason as to why. Because they say it's not a planetary body. But I think they do lace that with they're fairly certain it's not asteroids or anything like that. But the scientists you should never jump to that conclusion. But in this case, that's a plausible. Yeah, it's plausible that could happen. That could be it.
It's like, give me something else that it might be.
Mate, don't you think it sounds so great though? Not just like, oh, it's an alien thing. It's a megastructure.
Yes,
it's an alien megastructure made by warlords. Do you know what I mean?
It might just be like a signpost. You never know.
I know. Don't go here.
Yeah, don't go around here. Yeah, planetary quarantine zone. Do not approach.
Yeah,
someone brushes the dust off it.
I love it.
What's also quite cool about it is that this is all speculation, isn't it? But if that turned out to be what it is, can you imagine how much that would jumpstart our own development towards it? Because then all of a sudden you go, oh, it can be done.
Yeah.
We might not know how to do it yet, but it can be done. That's insane.
I think if aliens, or if it suddenly became common knowledge that there was something else out there.
Yeah, sure.
I think the world would go mental.
Yeah.
Because for me, that invalidates pretty much all religion.
In
a weird way, it does for me.
Yeah,
because they're not mentioned in any.
In
anything like that. So that would just be like, okay, we've got to start again. We've got to really think about what's going on.
Well, it's one thing if you assume, if you read that all of the events of the Bible happened in the little section of the Middle East. It's another thing to extrapolate that out and go, well, not only does it need to cover the whole world, but it needs to cover the whole universe of this sector, this whole quadrant. That's insane.
Yeah, it's just nuts.
Do you want to hear the smoothest segue in the world?
Go on then.
So if we were to be reverse engineering technology by looking at what someone else had done, imagine if you could do that with an iPhone, Tom.
Whoa. What? I didn't even see it coming. I was like on edge until you'd said that. Imagine if you could go to China. Imagine if you will.
This was. I mean, we joke about it. This was one of the coolest things I think that you sent to me.
Yeah.
So lead the way, Tom. So it was.
Okay, so there's a video online. It's about 25 minutes long. It's pretty long for a YouTube video, but it's really worth watching if you've got 25 minutes to kill. Is some guy goes to Shenzhen in China, which is like kind of known to be like a backstreet technology megastructure.
Nice.
Nice. But they just sell everything, like everything you could possibly imagine. Loads of stuff's built there. I'm not sure if like iPhones are built there, but oh god, silent.
Speaking of phones,
let's get that off. This guy makes it his mission to build an iPhone, but not just from like buying a screen and buying like the back and the battery. Although he does obviously do that, he decides to build it from scratch. So he buys like the back, but with nothing in it. So it's just the metal back piece. And it's basically his journey of buying all the screws, all the chipboards. He dabbles with soldering the board himself.
I like that bit particularly, yeah.
And he finds out it's too bloody difficult and machines do it for a reason. And then but everything, and he manages to, obviously spoiler alert, he manages to do it, and he builds absolutely everything, apart from like a few bits in the end. But he buys even like tiny little brackets that go inside it, and like all the tools and everything he needs. And literally in some points of the video, he's just walking down a literal back alley of people that have stacks of like phone parts, selling them. It's nuts.
It is crazy, man. It's really, I really enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed watching
it's
through it.
It's a good look at just what it's like over there as well.
Well, because there's been a few things in the news. I mean, there's always stuff in the news about this, but I remember reading something recently about the issue of like the the pollution of the manufacturing in China.
Yeah.
And how awful it is because everything's made there. You know, everything
pretty much everything,
is made over there. But it was interesting to see like the human level aspect of that. You know, to feel what it's actually like to walk around and see like all these things you see in the West every day. You know, and see the component parts just in little baskets.
Yeah.
Like
they're all just in little bags as well. I think just like here's a bag with a chipboard of the iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, he makes no bones about it, does he? He says it's very definitely just a passion project for him.
Yeah, it is.
Because he's in and out of China all the time, you know. So he wanted to do it while he was there. I had 2 issues with it, which
big issues.
Well, no, not like because it is really no. This is I want to preface this by saying it's really impressive. Like the fact that he manages to get it together. He sees his project through and goes, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
The first one isn't that it's a problem with it, but it's that what I was expecting to happen didn't happen.
Right.
Which is I was expecting him to go, yeah, it cost me $10 to buy the parts and put them together, and that was going to be like the idea of it. And
yeah,
you say,
wow, it's cheap.
Yeah. Like if you go out there and buy the parts, you know, you see that it's it's almost worthless over here because they make so much of it.
Yeah.
But I think it cost him quite a bit.
Yeah, it did.
He never explicitly says, but I got
No.
the impression it wasn't the cheapest thing in the because of the way how keen he is to return the bits that don't work.
Yeah, he was very keen to return this that didn't work.
That's not like a 30p chip,
No,
or
definitely
whatever.
not.
That's like
it's like probably 50, 60 quid
yeah,
to
sure.
get the board or whatever. Yeah.
So that was my. I don't know. That's I say it wasn't an issue with it. It was more just like
It makes sense if it costs like substantially less.
Yeah,
it would.
to kind of make the point. You know, to make that point. The other thing was, it's not a problem. It's just weird that because of course the conclusion that he's come to, he says at the end of the video, he's going, "Oh, it's great because all the stuff we recycle ends up in the markets. You know, you can buy like spares. It's so good that you can recycle all this Apple stuff. You know, it's so easy to put it together. It's so good that it's it's almost good for the planet. You know, because you can reuse all the bits and pieces."
He did ante it up a bit.
Yeah. Everything else I've read, excuse me, everything else I've read says exactly the opposite. It's like
really?
you know when you're reading about Apple AirBuds.
Yeah.
You know, they're going, yeah, once you've finished with them, there's no recycling. They need to go in landfill. You know, and saying like, there's a whole movement of people who are like, why can't we repair our iPhones? Why are they sealed away? You know.
Yeah.
But I say there's no right or wrong. I guess I don't really have my own personal opinion about this.
No.
But it's just there are a lot of people who are saying Apple are really terrible for not letting people do their own thing with it.
Yeah,
you know?
repair on a repair level. Yeah, they're quite. I think you're right. I think they are. I think it used to be worse. I don't think it's.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's funny they say that because like Apple's website's full of like, look how good we are to the planet.
Yeah.
And, like, in fairness, probably whatever the iPhone's built with does have a lot of like really good parts and all that sort of stuff. The one thing I did really like about that though.
Yeah.
It's right at the end. He buys an official box
charger,
like the whole thing. So he opens it up as if he was unboxing it, and he's like, "There it is. There's the iPhone I made." I thought that was kind of cute in a weird way.
And that was really cool, man. I mean, for a project video, it was. I don't want to sound negative about it at all because on the whole, my meter would fall on the positive. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and I thought it was great.
It's definitely worth a watch. It's got 24 minutes.
Yeah,
he's a
that's
nice
a long.
guy
I mean,
as well.
that's one long poo.
Yeah, I tell you, one long poo. But he doesn't speak Chinese particularly well at all, and that's quite an achievement.
Yeah,
but he goes on with a few mates sometimes that do a bit of talking for him. But a lot of people kind of if we're asking for something that specific, like I need ththese 5 screws for this iPhone.
Yeah,
that must have been quite tough.
Well, I mean, that's the hardest thing in any second language as well. It's where because you kind of barrel down this corridor of speaking, speaking a language that's not familiar to you, and then you realise you don't know the name for like resistor, or like capacitor.
The thing,
exactly. It's because it's not that complicated a word. You might not know. The layman might not know exactly what one is, but you're familiar with it. You know that okay, capacitor. That's a bit of a electronics. But to know that level of word in a target lane like a second language is pretty advanced.
The thing is, what we probably don't understand is like if we don't know what it is, we can describe it pretty well. But if you'd be like, oh, it's brown.
Yeah.
They'd be like, well, we could be like, oh, it's really
They're
small.
all brown.
Yeah. It's really small. It's got 2 things on the side. It kind of looks like one of those things. You probably would find that really tough to say that. In Chinese. or whatever he speaks.
And the trouble is as well, he's building something like that. It's not like building like a Pinterest project.
No.
It needs to be 100% right for it to work.
Yeah.
Was it at one point there's a set of brackets or widgets that he hasn't got that just alter, like shim basically, just to hold two components at the right distance from each other. And because he hasn't got that, the whole thing doesn't work.
Yeah, he was saying when he's flicking through it, he's like, it doesn't quite work yet. And it's like, could you imagine? Like, it's so frustrating.
I mean, to even find out where you're going wrong, to identify the bit
he's clearly
not
a
working
smart
properly.
guy as well. He's not. What he's got a doctorate or something. He's good with electronics. Let's put it that way. It's not something you could do.
I did a quick look. I think he runs a website, Strange Parts, which I think is about builds and about modifications and that kind of business. So so even for someone like that, it's like you say, it's summed up by the point where he's going, I'm not. I could solder in all the different parts for the backboard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Because it would take me forever.
Yeah. But he goes all the way. He goes to that university, doesn't he? And he asks, can you build it? And the guy there's like, you could.
Yeah.
But he's basically saying, why? Why would you build? Why on earth would you do that?
It would be quicker for you to build a machine that does it for you.
Yeah, probably. But no, it's cool. It was a cool little video. Yeah. He's quite good on camera as well. He kind of does a lot of vloggy kind of style of what he's doing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But no, it's good.
Oh, awesome. And speaking of tech, I know we haven't got this as an official part of the podcast
agenda.
So come with me while we go off-road into the weeds of the podcast.
Whoa.
But you've got that S8.
I've got the Galaxy S8.
Yeah. What do you... I know this isn't... mate, steady on, mate. It's not the Byte Review Podcast.
No, it's not yet.
But,
not yet.
But yeah, what do you reckon?
I had the Galaxy S7 Edge, which I loved. Like, if I didn't do what I did, as in like review phones and that sort of stuff, I would have that for the 2 full years of the contract and be happy. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have switched back because that phone was awesome. And I expected the S8 to be just as awesome, and it is on so many levels. Like the screen's better. It almost looks like there's no like bezel at all, which is awesome. The curve's not actually as curvy as the S7.
Okay.
But that's good because the palm projection's better. So like when you're in bed with my when I'm in
fat
bed
hands.
with my phone.
Yeah.
But when you're lying on your side and you're trying to use your phone, but when you had the S7 Edge, you'd like accidentally press there.
Okay, yeah.
Good podcasting again.
Yeah.
But basically, like any fat bit of your hand, touch the screen and activate stuff. That was a bit annoying. So you have to be kind of really particular how to hold it. That's gone with this, which is cool.
Okay.
And the camera is effectively very, very similar to the S7, not hugely different.
Okay. I saw your video of the S8 up against the Pixel.
Yeah.
And that was interesting because it was for me it was almost 50-50 in different conditions.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean everything is the thing I do love about it is it's USB-C, which is really cool.
Yep.
It's about time. And it's still got the headphone jack. And
not to throw that. It's like, will we ever let that die?
Yeah, no. But it's I find it funny that Apple like, there's no space for it, but Samsung have found space not only for a headphone jack but also a micro SD card slot.
Yeah,
that's quite a big like. Nobody expects micro SD now.
Yeah,
like, nobody.
Yeah, sure.
But to still have that is really cool.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what's in those iPhones. Is it sawdust? Yeah, is it just packing chips? Just packing peanuts?
But no, the screen's awesome, and I couldn't complain at all. The only thing that really irks me about it is the battery life. Just is, as I've said to you, it's so inconsistent.
Yeah,
I've had days where I'm getting like an hour and a half, and then the next day I'll get like 3.5 hours, which is 3.5 hours is ideal. That's kind of what you want screen on time. This is
because
that'll get you through to the end of the day. Worries.
Yeah, we should clarify that's 3.5 hours of actually using the phone. Yeah.
Whereas other times I've just had 1.5 hours, or there's times when I'm having to charge it at like 8 or 9 at night, and I haven't had to do that for phone for ages, like ages and ages. And my usage hasn't really changed. I don't play games on my phone. I don't really take that many photos day to day. Not really while I'm at work. Like,
sure. Or work for the channel.
Yeah.
Those sweet YouTube dollars.
Sweet YouTube dollars. So I mean it's great, but it hasn't wowed me like the S7 Edge did last year.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's a shame.
And I'm kind of gutted because I was hoping I sold my iPhone and I was hoping like I wouldn't be disappointed at that decision. I've got the S8, it's banging. But
that's a shame, man.
And it's not particularly quick. And I think that's TouchWiz on top of Samsung, which is always kind of crap, if I'm honest. But it's not. I mean, coming from iPhone 7 Plus, which is like razor fast, like it's
sure.
like blindingly quick, to go from that to the S8, where it feels slower. Whether it's slower at actually doing stuff, like maybe if you rendered footage on it, the S8 would be better. But actual general use, it is slower.
Okay.
And that's annoying.
See, that's a shame as well. It's because I guess once we've reached the point where where anything is instant, you immediately notice any kind of lag whatsoever. It's either at that point it becomes all or nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's either instant or it isn't, and you notice it.
And it's like, but even though I get paid by Apple to say it, obviously.
Yeah.
the 7 Plus is it's so quick. That's the first thing I noticed about it is it's so quick.
Sure.
And that's the most noticeable difference. Which is a shame because the camera on the S8 is awesome.
Yeah.
I really like it. I like the S7 Edge camera as well.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, if I was going to buy a phone now and I was looking to maybe not spend quite as much, I'd probably still buy an S7 Edge because the battery life's way better and the camera's effectively the same and the screen's just as good.
Yeah.
So,
man, you sound very positive about the iPhone, dude. I mean, it almost sounds like Samsung needs to hire some guardians of the galaxy.
Oh, well, if they offered to pay me as much as Apple clearly do, or maybe they could one up them,
possibly.
But no, I think it's great. It's a shame about the battery life, but obviously that was a kickback from the Note 7, which exploded.
Yeah,
they put in two bigger batteries, so they toned it down for this.
Yeah,
which obviously makes a safer phone.
Well,
but also not as quite as good.
Arguably.
I'd take the risk personally. But no, it's great. A little disappointing in the battery life. Otherwise, it's probably the best phone you could buy.
Yeah. How many out of 10?
Oh man, I'd probably give it a solid. If the battery life was like good, like decent battery life, I'd probably give it like 9.5. And so there's not much wrong with it at all.
Yeah.
Apart from it's a bit, software's a bit crap.
Well, dude, this is the point where you go Hong Kong style. Like you were saying, you get your little portable charger units out and just run around with one of them.
I started taking it to work.
Fantastic.
I haven't actually had to use it yet because I'm still getting home with plenty of charge. But,
sure. But I like having it there.
Yeah, it's in the bag. But anyway, the unofficial review, it could be better, but it's still very good. And if you don't want an iPhone, you should get it.
Okay.
If you've got that kind of money to play with, because it's an expensive bit of kit.
Sure. For now.
Or if you're looking to save a bit of money, get the S7 Edge, which is an awesome phone.
Mate, we should move on to I don't know, is it going to be the main segment of the show?
Probably.
It's the thing that we probably have talked about. Well, we talked about it a fair bit.
We did, didn't we?
With a little bit of foreshadowing earlier. I don't know if you caught my little quip there about Guardians.
Oh, earlier. No, I didn't notice. Do you know why? Because it was so subtle.
Just flew under the radar.
Subtlety.
We went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
We did.
Volume 2.
Damn
it! I always forget the volume. It's volume 2. This was obviously a couple of weeks ago now.
It was. No expenses spared either. We got Pullman chairs.
The little old legroom ones.
For those of you that don't know, Pullman chairs is £1 extra, £2 extra.
Yeah, it's something like that in your friendly local cinema.
In your friendly local cinema, and you get a bigger, basically you get more legroom and a fancy chair.
And you get to lord it over everyone else as well.
Oh god, yeah. We went in there like kings, like looking at all the peasants and
knocking
their red
over the
chairs.
kids' popcorns.
Yeah. Get over it, kid. Welcome to the real world.
Time for you to learn a valuable lesson. Because we haven't actually done, just as a side note, we haven't done that before. I mean, this was almost like it was friendly as well, but it was almost deliberately for the purposes of the podcast to go together.
It was a little bit, yeah, wasn't it?
Do you want to talk about it with no spoilers first?
No, I think we should go spoiler in.
We just go straight away spoilers.
Yeah, it's been out long enough now.
It has. I was thinking this. It's been. If you haven't seen it by now, then you probably don't want to see it.
No.
But if you are concerned about spoilers, then
skip. Stop.
Turn this off. Just see you later.
Just turn it off.
What did you think?
I really enjoyed it, like loads. I thought it was fan-tastic. I've got problems with it, which we'll go on to, but I thought it was great. There's not much. It was really funny. They amped up the funniness, and I think that's the right thing to do with that kind of segment of the universe, because everything is so erratic over there. Like, people are painted different colours.
Yeah.
Even though they're supposed to be aliens, I quite like that. It's like they're clearly painted.
Yeah,
like, they clearly are. And they've got like these weird things on their heads, and like, the technology. I kind of like that galaxy because like the technology has advanced, but none of them have got like an iPhone or anything that we would consider
Yes.
like good. Because they make the awesome pun at the end of the Zune.
Yes.
Because he's still using his tape deck in it, and then he's like, "Oh, here's a Zune. Everyone on Earth's got one." And it's like, and it stores 300 songs. And he's like, "Oh my god, what?"
Yeah.
But they're there flying around in spaceships.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. But obviously that area never advanced.
Yeah. See, I really like that, man. I like it because it shows that they don't need to take it too seriously.
No.
I mean, if you think when the first Guardians came out, and everyone's going, "Oh God, it's a tree and a talking raccoon."
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a green woman.
Yeah.
You know, and it just looked so ridiculous compared to the kind of more serious films that had been out at the time. And then it came out, and everyone went, "Oh, hang on,
It's amazing.
this is amazing."
Yeah.
I like it. I think they've gone balls out, and especially
Yeah.
James Gunn. He's gone, "Look, we can do this. No one cares. We'll just, if anything, we'll make it more ridiculous. In this,
Yeah.
you know, we'll bring out all the funny little characters that that you'd be familiar with from the books, I guess, but to the layman, they're not going to make any sense."
No, and that's fine. Yeah, they totally run with that.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah.
a brand new alien race, barely mentioned, but they're in it a lot.
Yeah, yeah, because it doesn't. It's almost like that lack of explanation as well. Is that it's the show of confidence by not going, right, we are these guys. This is how
Yeah.
we live. This is
Yeah.
what we do.
It's not like that at all.
It's straight away into the video arcades, trying
Yeah.
to shoot down,
Yeah, that
shoot
was
down
cool.
ships.
That was quite cool. They weren't actually flying the ships, so they were like drones, but it was like an arcade. You
Yeah.
got shot down. It was like do 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 do. That was cool. That was really cool. I do have one big problem with it though.
Okay.
But do you want to give your thoughts on it first, or do you want me to go?
No, mate, go straight in.
Okay, so obviously spoilers. We've already gone there. Actually, we haven't given many spoilers yet.
Oh, not too many.
So this is the big spoiler then. So you find out that Star-Lord's dad is effectively a god.
He's a celestial, isn't he?
He's
So
a celestial,
basically, yeah,
he's
godlike,
basically a
yeah,
godlike.
yeah.
And they do, and Marvel. I don't know. It's my only problem with Marvel, but they don't. They've toned back on it recently. But every scenario kind of turns into this save the world scenario. There's not much personal story,
Sure,
which might be okay.
Yeah.
And like, not all of them are like that. Like, Civil War's not like that. They're just having a row. There's no world.
Bit
There's
of a
no
Barney, mate.
yeah. There's no like, there's no big evil or anything like that. Whereas Guardian of the Galaxy is like for such a fun, light-hearted, I guess in a way, silly film.
Yeah.
He ends up fighting his dad, who's this celestial, and you find out that he's a celestial as well, because obviously it's his dad. In a world-ending kind of event, all this stuff's
It's very
going on.
apocalyptic, isn't it?
Yeah, he's going to stop, and it's just like, why? When the film's been so light out of the way for it to get that dark that quick, but it's not dark how it's approached. It's still kind of funny and all that sort of stuff, but it's like, no, that's the end of the world unless he stops him.
Yeah.
I kind of didn't really get it. I was like, it's not like I say, it's such a nitpick.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
so awesome, but
no,
I don't get it.
I hadn't noticed that, and you make a really good point. No, I agree, because it could have, when you think about the storyline, it could just as easily have been that there were no shots of the other planets that were being affected,
It wouldn't have mattered.
and it just could have been right. We need to
gonna kill your
stop him.
friends. Like, yeah.
Or even if it had told them what his plan was,
Yeah.
but you don't need to know it. You don't need to see it. You don't need to be shown it. So it doesn't. It could just be a much more personal thing between him and his dad, and going.
That's what I thought it might be. Like, I thought, oh, he's going to just fight his. I thought you get the impression his dad's a bit seedy. Probably about halfway through, like something's not obviously going to go quite right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought maybe he'd just like I thought he's going to force him to be like him, and then he to get rid of his friends or something, and then end up killing them for some reason. I thought it'd be kind of based around his friends.
Yeah.
And that would be enough.
Well, I mean, I know it's a bit of a classic storyline for sci-fi now, but it could have been that he went, no, it's paradise here. Why would you want to leave?
Yeah,
and then they want to leave, and he's all like, no, you can't leave. And that could have been the impetus for the third act, maybe. I suppose somewhere between the two, because I don't know. I guess a sprinkling of peril for for the wider universe was cool.
But I loved it. Regardless, I loved it. I thought it was so funny.
I mean, storyline wise, I did wonder whether it got a little bit muddled towards the end. Maybe they brought it back for the final act, for the final set piece on the planet.
Yeah,
I thought that was all brought back together by that point.
Yeah,
the bit directly before that, where they're kind of just exploring, where a few of them are on the planet and they're exploring and finding out, and that's
it
being
loses its
uncovered.
traction.
Yeah. It kind of did a little bit. I know it's a bit of character development for
Yeah.
Rocket, where where he's with the Ravagers on the ship and what have you. But I don't know, it just lost a little bit of pace there. Speaking of ridiculous characters, have you ever seen the character of Yondu in the comics?
Yeah, he's like a little elf, and he or something.
Yeah, like a almost like a water creature kind of thing. But it's what I do like is the way that they've made him with that fin as well.
Yeah.
They've gone, no, you know what? We're going to nudge him even closer to the comic book version. That was really cool.
That Finn. I loved Baby Groot as well. I thought he was awesome, and they didn't overdo it.
No,
because he's obviously a big centerpiece of the whole thing. And I wasn't worried. I thought, they're gonna really capitalize on it.
Dude, we're on exactly the same page.
Yeah,
I was worried he was going to be a minion.
Yeah, he was used tastefully and not loads.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool. And he was the bit where he's finding all that. They're trying to get him to get that fin, aren't they, to put on his head?
Yeah.
And he keeps coming back with this random stuff. That's a desk.
Yeah, that's someone's leg.
Yeah, so funny.
See, again, I was worried that wasn't going to work. Because it goes on, that scene particularly goes on for quite a while.
It does.
But it does just about. I think it holds the reins on still being funny.
Yeah, definitely.
There were a couple of jokes I didn't feel really landed. I think I might have said this to you about towards the end where Peter Quill's fighting his dad.
Yeah.
I can't help but call him Chris Pratt. So Chris Pratt's fighting Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell makes like a big Kurt Russell avatar out of rock.
Yeah.
And Chris Pratt's leaping towards him. You think, what's he gonna make?
Yeah.
Pac-Man wasn't for me, man. It didn't.
I quite liked the Pac-Man thing.
I get it, and it was fun. I say could have been David Hasselhoff. I know he was in it. I know he was in it, but if it had been David Hasselhoff, then that would have landed completely.
The joke I didn't like was the taser face thing. That didn't make me laugh at all.
Yeah.
But maybe that's for younger kids.
Well, it's funny. I wonder why that was put in, because James Gunn, I think I remember hearing it was for the first one, he specifically called out Taserface because he is a character in it, and said he's ridiculous. I'm never going to put him in a movie. So I wonder whether it was like maybe kind of fine, here he is.
Yeah, the film's so off the wall anyway. Let's chuck him in.
Yeah. What did you think about the characters? What did you think about? Because I'm specifically Chris Pratt and his green woman, Gamora. Who I can't remember the name of the actress.
Zoe Slander, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
The kind of is it, isn't it?
I thought that was quite funny because he says towards the end all good shows end when you find out it is or it isn't.
Sure.
And he said, it's better when you just don't really know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite it's right in a way. It's weird because they kind of acknowledge it and they're like, oh, is it? Isn't it? And it keeps you going because you really want it to happen.
Yeah.
Weirdly, as a human, you always want it to happen. You're like, go on.
Yeah.
And it makes you happy, and you don't know why. But then, you kind of stay for the tension, don't you?
Yeah. I really liked it. I thought it was cool because in the first one, I didn't think it was so cool because she's supposed to be set up as this badass warrior, single-minded, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
But then it takes about 5 seconds for them to start dancing and it getting a bit weird.
Yeah.
What I liked about this one is that there's that whole scene with Mantis where she's going, no, you feel love, for her.
Yeah.
And so it's out there. It's like it's on the table.
Yeah.
And nothing happens because of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn into, now I kind of feel the same. It's like, no, we know, but we're going to keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a mature message to send with it, I suppose.
Maybe it is.
This...
You don't need that for it to be a good story.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I thought Drax was just amped up to 10 in it. He was so good. In the first one, he's kind of funny, but very much a sideline character in a way. I guess he's in it obviously a lot, but he's way more in this one.
Dude, I'm glad as well. I think it's because he was so like the bits where he was good in the first one. I think people latched onto that. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I love. He just looks like he's having a wicked time.
He's having the best time.
I wonder how much of that is Dave Bautista going, this is just a great movie to be in, thanks. I'm just having a wicked time. They painted me up, I get to run around.
Yeah, no, it's so cool. And like whenever he kind of, even though you know the laugh is fake because he's an actor, it still feels so real when he's like,
it's a proper belly laugh.
Yeah, belly roll. that bit with Mantis in particular it's in the advert anyway. It's like you just his deepest darkest secret, and he's loving it. It's so funny.
See, that's one thing that I did. Overall, the film just feels happy.
Yeah,
I know there are dramatic moments, but it feels like it's supposed to be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah,
like they've gone, we want people to enjoy watching this.
Yeah,
so here you go, have at it.
Yeah, which is, I guess, in the way at the end is just so ridiculous. It kind of goes into the whole thing of the film's a bit silly anyway. Yeah, but that's why I didn't like the end, because it kind of got like, oh, it's suddenly the world's going to end.
Yeah, it gets very dramatic.
Yeah, it does, and I was a bit like, well. But it's great when he turns into David Hasselhoff.
I didn't pick up on it at the time. I didn't realise that David Hasselhoff sung one of the songs over the credits.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. The bit with the I wanted to go and listen to it again, but the bit with the spoken word in it. Yeah, that's him.
I didn't realise.
Bit of a side note, but talking about the look of it, because I know we mentioned this briefly before.
Yeah.
Because there was an article on Cracked, wasn't there, about the reasons behind like annoying movie tropes, between annoying things that you find in most movies, and one of them was the color of them. Yeah, where people have said, why do all movies look the same sort of color? You know, they're all colorized in the same way. Yeah, and you probably know more about the technical aspects of this than I do, but I found it really interesting.
Yeah, there's that really interesting video like why do Marvel movies look so dull? Sure. And then Captain America: Civil War is like the prime example. Yeah, there's that scene of them running against each other. Yeah, you know, just before they have their big fight at the airport. And when you think about it, that should be like explode. You know, they've all got their costumes on. They're all costumed that should explode with like color and excitement. Yeah. But the shot is so dull, isn't it? Not dull as in like what's going on, but as in color wise. You know, it's all kind of that washed out, fadey Instagram look. And Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't like that at all. It exploded with color. I thought, because even some explosions were like rainbow.
Yes.
Like, yeah. And I don't know, maybe they're just like, no, it needs to be more colourful. But one of the things that did happen is they like I said to you, they switched cameras. Yes, so sure. This is getting technical now, but they're using Aria cameras. Aria. No, sorry, Alexa. They're using Alexa cameras. Okay. And Alexa cameras, industry standard. That's what a lot of people use for films, because they shoot a super flat image. Like they shoot. It almost looks black and white, I guess, as best as it looks black and white. So it captures every single piece of information. And then a colorist will colour afterwards, and they'll say, oh, bring out the reds, bring out the blues, darken this, darken that. And they can basically get any look they want.
We should say, like, for people who can't picture this as well, when we say it looks muted and colourless, it really looks terrible.
Super,
like the raw stuff is horrible.
I think the caption is, it looks like it's been shot of a potato. Yeah, which is so true. It does. It looks like rubbish, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's really grey, washed out, barely any colour in it at all. Yeah. But yeah, that's the idea of it, is so it can capture loads more. Yeah. And then you can put it into a processor, and then you can tell it what you want, and it will do it. So if you shoot the same scene on a different day where there's different lighting, you can just emulate it, and it's exactly the same.
I suppose we said before it was almost like a bass when you're recording a bass guitar through DI. Yeah. If this is how you're doing it, you want as clean a signal as possible. Yeah. So that you can do what you like to it.
Yeah, that's the idea of it. But they switched to red cameras, which are super, super expensive as well. Sure. If anyone's watched Daredevil or any of those series, they're all shot on red.
Oh,
which
right.
is why you might notice that they look a bit better. Like just in general, they've got a bit more punch to them and all that stuff. The red cameras have got a tinge to them. They're a bit more punchy. You still shoot that super flat image. Yeah. But they're way more like, when you bring up the colours, they like jump off the screen as opposed to just like come out. Sure. And Marvel just switched to them, I think, for Guardians.
Oh, fantastic.
And then they're using that going forward.
Did you see, I mean, anyone can do this with a little bit of Photoshop knowledge, but you've seen obviously pictures where people have talked about this and have recolorized shots and stills from films. I would pay to go and watch
Yeah, I would
re-colorized
too.
versions of films where even if they went, this is ridiculous. Like we've taken it to the point where we feel like it's silly,
Yeah.
and everything's popping and it's
Yeah, like-
real like primary colors.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see what that felt like to watch,
Yeah.
because that could be really cool. It could be rubbish. It could be really cool.
One film that's amazing to watch for color. We're getting really boring now.
Oh no, get into the weeds.
If you want to watch you may have seen it. A film that is like a masterclass in color is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
It's absolutely stunning color wise. But if you notice, I'll send you a clip of it because there's a really I think it's 10 best uses of color in film, and it's like number 8.
Okay.
And you may have noticed because you've seen it. There's no primary color in it. It's like rose pink, or it's like
Sure.
it's like deep, like deep baby blue or something like that. Because you've watched it, you probably remember. It's like a picture book. It's actually like a book.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it looks like it's been drawn in a weird way.
Yes. Yeah.
But even added to it, because a lot of it's in 4:3, isn't it?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
squat.
Yeah.
And that just adds to it. Amazing.
I might be misremembering this, but I seem to remember a lot of very held shots in that too, which would
Yeah.
probably add to it.
Yeah, you're right.
Where it's real like hold the scenery and then someone's running across it for about 5 minutes.
Yeah. That adds to the whole picture book thing of it. The idea is like a lot of it. When I was watching it, I had my little cinematographer hat on.
Yeah,
I was like,
sure,
so
yeah.
cool. But a lot of the camera movements are exactly the same. So like the scene will end, the camera will pan back and then move to the next scene. It kind of pans. There's a really good example of it when he gets in a car. He gets in the car, the camera pans back, and the camera moves over to the right, and that's where the next scene is. But
Sure.
It does that like probably about 80 times in the film.
Okay.
It's really, once you notice it, you can't not notice it.
Yeah.
But that film is like perfect on color. It looks awesome.
And it's a good film generally as well. I enjoyed it.
It's pretty funny. It's like a weird film, isn't it?
It is
Callie,
weird.
I watched it on the plane to Hong Kong, and Callie was like,
God, jet setter over here.
"Yeah, jet setter." And Callie was like, "What was the film about?" And I was like, "About
really
a hotel,
know.
I
Yeah.
guess." But it's difficult to explain.
But I like films like that, man. So again, it's the bravery of going, we're just going to tell a good little story.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to fit with. I think it's sounding really pretentious in that indie film cinema club. But seriously, I do enjoy films like that where they just stand on their own, and you just have to say to someone, "It's just a good film.
It's
just
like
go and watch it."
Yeah, it's like a comedy, but also not
Yeah,
set in a weird wartime. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It was good though.
yeah.
But yeah,
Speaking of color, I cannot remember the name of this Twitter account, but the one that I sent to you, I'll link it again below. But the one that I sent to you, where it's called it's called something like color in film.
Yeah.
It's called something very, very related to what it is. It's a Twitter account that posts stills from all kinds of movies, big movies, independent movies, what have you. But then underneath, it's almost like have you ever seen the Adobe Cooler app?
Yeah.
Where you take a photo and it draws the key colours from that
and
photo.
It just, absorbs them. Like these are the theme of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so under each picture, it's got maybe 9 or so, I think it's 9, maybe 10 swatches of colour taken from the scene. And by looking at, what I find myself doing is you look at the scene, then you look at the colours, and then you kind of look back at the scene and you appreciate it more
Yeah, it makes you
for
go,
how the colour
wow,
works.
That's clearly been picked.
Yes, yeah.
That's what boggles my mind is they've done that for every shot. They haven't just done that for the film in general. They've sat down and said, this light needs to be here, this colour needs to be there. That has to come in like that. That's mental.
It's really cool. It's a really fascinating one to watch. I know we've talked about different techie film accounts and and various people to follow around the internet before. Every frame of painting, that kind of business. But that kind of thing where it analyses film is super interesting.
Mate, there's one more because Every Frame Painting hasn't uploaded in 8 months now. I literally checked yesterday.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Nerd Writer? Yeah.
I'm
does,
nodding while I'm taking a drink. Yeah.
he does film analysis on certain bits or certain scenes. They're so good. They're so good. But even does like political ones. Like he's done with like how does Trump answer a question?
Yeah,
and that's really good. And he does loads of them. They're all awesome.
I will get. I'm sure I've seen him. I've seen him around. I'll make more of a concerted effort to hunt it down. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, great film.
Great film.
Definitely worth going to see, I would say, if you still got a chance.
Yeah, I would say so, definitely.
Are you excited about where it's going to go from there?
Yeah, I am. I think Marvel have got such a good track record now that I would be excited to see any Marvel film,
Sure.
regardless of what the content is. If they came out with a brand new character they just made up, I'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah, wicked, let's go see it. Because I'm sure it would be
Maybe
good.
even a woman.
Yeah, maybe
You never
one
know.
day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's an interesting, probably a topic for another day. But I can't
sure.
imagine we'll ever see a Black Widow film.
It's really bad. Although, no, that's DC. I was going to say Joss Whedon's doing Batgirl.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which would be really good.
I mean, Wonder Woman looks great.
It
looks
does.
like the
It does.
first DC movie that looks like it's going to be decent, like really decent.
Yeah.
I really hope it's good because they deserve a good movie universe.
yeah.
They do.
No, absolutely.
And the formula's right in front of them.
Yeah.
Just watch the Marvel films and just be like, look, I don't want to be a copycat, but let's just copy it.
Yeah. No, they could. That's
They
the thing.
could-
I
they
mean,
could just sit down there and go like, what makes these films great?
well, dude, they've got perfect chance because the Flash keeps stalling, with director issues, which doesn't sound like a great place to start.
Yeah.
But they've got this film that's in the works. It's slated for release. All they need, and he's quite a colourful character. He's got,
Yeah.
depending on what story they decide to go with, it's he's got quite a good, like a rogues gallery. His villains are pretty interesting. There's some interesting stuff going on there. They could not taking it to Suicide Squad lengths, where it's almost like the aesthetic made up part of the film.
Yeah.
It was more it was hung on the aesthetic. Don't go that way, but just make a Marvel film. Exactly as you say. Just make it colourful, a bit more light-hearted, a bit more jokey. Pay, nab some of the screenwriters, whatever you need to do, whatever it is.
Yeah. Another thing I don't really get of them, we're going off on a tangent now, but I'm not sure why they're introducing Justice League so early on. Because Marvel did like Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, like 4, quite a few films beforehand.
Yeah.
And it was 2012 Avengers, which wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, true.
And there was plenty of Marvel films for that. Iron Man was like 2007 or 8. So
I think, to be honest, Avengers is part of it. I think if I had to give one big reason, I'd say that is the reason, I reckon, is that DC looked at what Avengers did and went, shit, we are
the team up
nowhere
is the
near.
one to do.
Yeah, we're nowhere near that.
Yeah.
So then, because that was, when was Man of Steel out?
2011?
I think it was just before, wasn't it? Because I think they were starting to think about it then. That's almost why they did the reboot then. I know I know that was the plan with the with Batman versus Superman as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously with that one it's a lead up.
I feel like that story was too early as well.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
feel it's way too early.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Because the comic book that's ripped from isn't canon as such. That's like a tale in the universe,
Yeah.
which sometimes are the best ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it feels weird they'd introduce it that quickly.
What was it I was reading the other day? I think it was talking about the characterization of Superman, and it's only when it gets called out that you kind of see it. But what is wrong with Henry Cavill? Not the actor himself. I know he's working with what he's been given, but his Superman. What basis is that based on from the comics or any history of the character?
Yeah,
just this
which
moody,
one? Yeah.
conflicted kind of. Superman's should be either one of two things: hopeful and shining and smiling, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like we're going to have to work hard, but it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Or he just enjoys getting into a ruck. He's like this hyper masculine kind of like. When you have the big threats come along, he's like, "Great, brilliant," because now I can now I can finally let rip.
He almost needs to make like the jokes like, "Well, I can't be hurt, so I'll go do it."
Exactly.
I'll do it. I don't mind. That sort of thing.
Because that's why Batman hates him.
Yeah,
that's part of the reason is that he's so hopeful, and Batman's trying to say to him, "Dude, you need to be realistic." Yeah. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I think because say if Marvel did, they'd probably take all those funny little bits about him and work it in, like, oh yeah, well, we're going to make him super over hopeful and everything's going to be okay. But then Batman's going to be like, no, that sort of thing.
I wonder, because obviously he's dead. I'm doing the air quotes. Yeah. He's dead now. When he comes back, because he'll come back. Obviously, he'll come back.
Yeah. I mean, they've kind of added in the Justice League trailer, they're like, oh, what's your superpower to Batman? He's like, I'm super rich.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
That's funny. Like, that is funny.
Yeah.
They should, maybe they should roll with that.
I think I think we're finished with films because otherwise we're gonna start talking more and more into a tunnel. do you want to wrap up this episode of the podcast with our brand new segment?
Yeah, I do.
Which-
Maybe this will be a segment forever.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
Let's see. It might be the kind of segment. We're both looking over at what this segment pertains to. It could end up being 5 minutes. It could end up being a whole half hour. So buckle up.
Buckle up. Strap in, Randy, because you're the only one listening right now.
Yeah, that's long time listener, Randy. So we're gonna take a question from the box.
Ooh.
So I have just as a very brief origin story for the box of questions. We have a wedding coming up in the summer, and we have a box of questions that are designed for those awkward, wedding dinners.
Yeah.
We all know the ones.
So how do you know, Ben?
How do you know? Yeah,
I'm his 8th cousin.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be questions that will encourage a bit of conversation,
Cool.
but some of them are just ridiculous.
Okay.
So-
So you're gonna pick at random.
I'm going to pick at random. I have seen a few of these before,
Okay.
but I don't know which one I'm going to pick out.
Okay. So,
So-
do you ask me? I assume.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll pick it out and I'll ask, and then we'll both answer.
Okay.
Right.
Go for it.
It's going to be
Ben's
this
pulling
one.
a card
Let's
out.
see how it's going to be this one. Okay. This is the question for today's question from the box.
Ooh.
Would you be likely to survive alone in the wilderness?
Oh man. I guess it depends what the wilderness is, but probably not. I'm hyper impractical. Like honestly, I really am. I tried to screw a hook onto the back of my door
Yeah.
last month.
Where's that door now?
Yeah, exactly. They managed to round off the screw, so it's just hanging off like a month. And then Nev came over and sorted it out for me because I didn't know what else to do.
Okay.
I was like, it's rounded off, so it's stuck there now.
Yeah.
And he just came over and, oh no, it's not. You do this, and he literally just screwed on with his hand. That hadn't even crossed my mind.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, oh, that's easy. I was like, do you know what? I could make you a nice transition on a video, but I couldn't
It's
sort
like,
that out.
Hang on. Now, just do that again. Let me get let me get my tripod in the right place.
Do you know what I mean? I so horribly impractical. So would build an awful shelter. I imagine hunger would set in fast.
Yeah.
Along with no knowledge of outside,
Yeah.
in particular. No, I don't think I would. If I survived, it would be because I found someone else and they're doing it.
Yeah. And I ate them.
And I ate them. No, I wouldn't even be able to do that. I wouldn't even know how. I'd like end up just like punching them and be like, "Are you dead?"
Yeah. It's like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
This is when they wake up in the middle of the night going, Tom, why are you stroking my neck? It's like, shut
Yeah.
up. I'm just go
not
peacefully into the night.
Die. I've seen it on films.
Yeah, I just do
No,
this.
man, I don't think I would. I think the only way I would be able to survive is I'd try and find a stream of water. This is the only thing I do know.
Yeah.
Just find a stream of water, drink from the stream, and just follow it
Oh,
until
okay.
hopefully that leads to somewhere better than the wilderness.
A club somewhere.
Club, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know. I'll probably get to the town and just die because I'm
Yeah.
too embarrassed to ask anybody anything.
I'm too... Excuse
Excuse me. No. Sorry. He looks busy. I won't ask him.
Yeah.
What about you, though? I imagine you would fare much better with. We're sitting at a table Ben made.
Wow. Yeah, it's still. If you want a table in the wilderness, mate, I'm your man.
Well,
and
there
give
you go.
me 6 months to finish it off, and
Yeah,
we'd
we're sorted.
be eating at a table. That's for sure. I don't know. I think I'd be okay. I have actually got a bit of form with this, if I'm honest.
Really?
Which, as I say, this
Scout.
was a random question. But no, for a birthday, it was my 30th. My girlfriend took me, or sent me, I should say, is more accurate.
Summer camp.
Sent me and a buddy my buddy Luke, for a weekend away, like a wilderness weekend away.
Yeah.
I tell you what, dude, and I say this to anyone who happens to be listening, either now or in the future. So, Randy, if you get chance, this sort of thing is brilliant, absolutely awesome.
Really?
Straight up one of the best weekends I've been on. Yeah, we did all sorts of stuff like knife techniques, how to make stuff out of wood, like a little bit of basic
Whittling.
whittling, But we stayed there for 2 nights. First night we were under a little sheet tent. There is a name for it, but I'm not going to waste time poking around in the brain to remember now. And that was brilliant because I'm quite a tall guy. I could barely fit under it, and you could sort of see the stars.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of November, so it's quite cold, but it was quite a clear night. Then you wake up and you're cooking like tea at 6 a.m, tea over the fire with this bread we were making. The second night we had to make shelters ourselves out of
Yeah.
dirt, like a dirt coffin.
Oh, really?
Dude, I've never been so cold, but at the same time, so satisfied to be sleeping and just barely keeping warm under this thing you've made.
Really?
Honestly, okay, it was freezing cold. We were warm enough, but it wasn't
Yeah,
warm.
could be warmer.
But
A lot
honestly,
warmer.
dude, I was lying there looking at the ceiling of this shelter about 6 inches in front of my face while I was going
Yeah.
to sleep. You have to kind of shuffle in and shuffle out. And I've never slept. I had a more satisfying night's sleep,
Yeah.
than under something you made. So hey, if I've got instruction and it's only for a weekend, then yes. Any longer, Dead by Dawn
Dead by Dawn.
for sure. Yeah.
Fair enough. I would have died much earlier.
Mate, this
That's it.
this rounds up another episode of It's
It's
It's-
season 2, episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 2, episode 2, episode 8. I don't even know how.
AK episode 8.
I don't even know how we
wanna call
list these out anymore. Where can people find you online if they want to send you abuse or
Just at Byte Review.
at Byte Review?
Yeah.
I'm on at Benji1Lung. We don't have a Twitter, do we? I think it's probably for the best.
I don't think we
I've
need
got
one.
no intention of making an It's Twitter.
We'll have it's for Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yeah. Links.
Oh, we'll
Jesus.
do all of them.
We'll do all of yeah. Thanks as always to Tony Thaxton for our amazing theme tune.
Yeah, which we'll play at the start. Which we played at the
Which we
start.
played at the start.
Ah.
And as always, I mean, if you've got this far into it, then for one, we're probably sorry. But at the
Yeah.
same time, if you feel like leaving a comment or a like, if you're on YouTube, maybe subscribe. If you-
Randy should leave a comment. I reckon he's listened this far. If Randy, I know you have. Leave
Definitely.
leave a comment.
leave us a comment. And if you, I don't know, we're always just grateful for any kind of
Any
interaction.
listeners,
I meant to tell you this, we had a record number of downloads last month.
A record number.
Yeah, we're almost pushing into triple figures now.
No.
Yeah, dude. So a fair
That's a
number of people
lot.
have downloaded. Yeah. So I'm not going to make it about that, but
No.
I guess what I'm saying is, the support is there, and we're grateful for it, and
We're over the moon.
over the moon.
Yeah. Excellent.
On that note,
Goodbye.
we'll see you all next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.